Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dragonaut, and, well, sometimes the world is not enough, as illustrated by this replay, but this is not the point of the video. The point of the video is, well, there's a couple of interesting sort of stories that came up over the last few days and some games news, so I want to talk about that for a second, and the primary elephant in the room being Stellaris and its latest DLC. But before we get into that, this is World of Tanks, and this is the AMX M449, one of my favourite, if not my favourite tank in the game so far out of the ones that I have had the opportunity to play. I've got a fancy skin on it, and I received it as a reward vehicle for the referral program. A absolutely fantastic vehicle, love it, but yeah, for those of you that are interested in World of Tanks, ridiculously strong frontal armour, great turret with a weak spot right here. But very bad side armor, so shots in here can penetrate easily. And, yeah, decent gun, not that much DPM, but decent. And relatively okay penetration with 233 on standard and 263 on premium rounds. So, playing a grand battle, and now let's get into the elephant in the room, that being Stellaris. So, the latest DLC for Stellaris features a bug, a particular kind of bug that I find immensely annoying. Matter of fact, find annoying enough to not play the game for a while until they fix it at the very least. So, with the latest DLC called Ancient Relics, I believe that's what they've dubbed it, essentially you have a chance, well, you have a chance as much as any other race, I suppose, in the game, to find a Titan within the first 10-20 years of the game. Now, again, I feel the need to sort of explain everything layman terms and from the beginning, but anyone that's played Stellaris in any of the remotely later versions knows that a Titan is a super ship, right? It's basically a planet on wheels, except it's not on wheels, it's spacefaring, basically, right? It's a huge, massive ship. It is one of the largest, not one of the largest, but it is the largest ship in the game, and is available as pretty much end-game tech. Now, this is not late-game tech, this is pretty much end-game tech. You get it the same time you get planetary crackers, right? Or planet crackers. So it's a ridiculously powerful thing. So much so that you could conquer the entire galaxy with just that one ship. Now, from a sort of idea perspective, I like this. I really do. I like the fact that you can find one ship somewhere in the middle of something, repair it, and have it be the centerpiece of your empire for 100 years or so. That's great. But this is too good. This eliminates pretty much anything and everything out of the game. I really want to know where those shots went in. Alright, so one went to the lower plate, probably the other one as well. Or the, no, it was in the hatch. Alright, whatever. So, thing is, it completely just ruins the game, right? There is no point in playing now. Either you're going to find it, or an AI empire is going to find it, and then you're screwed. That's about it. Or they're screwed. Either way, you're done. Now, alternatively, you can find it and then, you know, delete the ship and make the game playable, fair enough, but what if you don't find it? Mind you, it's on a random place on the map. You don't exactly have that much control over whether you find it or not. Why the hell did they just fall back over there? I mean, this could have been avoided. Could I have done something better? Yeah. Could I have turned around? Yeah. Point being, though, you know, watch the remainder of this. Can we watch from someone else's perspective? Ah, we can't. We can't. Alright. Yeah, because I didn't stick to the end of the battle. Okay, never mind. We'll jump into something else. Alright, here we go. This I'm playing around, or this time around, sorry, playing as the Panther, a Tier 6 and Tier 7 German medium tank. What do you mean Tier 6 and Tier 7? Well, the historic version of the Panther is available at Tier 6 under a different name, or under its production line name. The VK 3002, I think. But at any rate, back to Stellaris. I don't like this sort of general attitude that's been coming out of Paradox ever since they released Rome. I mean, this is a pretty major thing. Come to think of it, if you'd have thrown this DLC out to a few beta testers, and tested the DLC for, I don't know, more than a day, you would have come across this. You would have come across someone finding a Titan and using it to wipe out the rest of the galaxy in a matter of, I don't know, it doesn't matter how much time you spent, the point being, you're going to use that one thing, and now you're ignoring, or you're, but, oh, I think there's a little bit of a problem with, no? The replay is from the previous patch, so if we see some bugs, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but alright. At any rate, so you now basically you have no reason to pay attention to anything else in the game. You completely remove fleet composition, army technologies, you completely ignore economy because you're just going to expand the high hell. Fair enough, you're going to have to deal with revolts and stuff like that, but even then, like, what are they going to do? Revolt, you're going to land more troops which are dirt cheap, and then that's about it. Right? All the other empires are going to hate you, yeah, and what are they going to do about it, right? So the only real threat to you at that point are fallen empires, which are going to stay asleep until you reach the end game anyway. Now again, this is not something that completely breaks down the game, because like I said, you could delete the ship, and the AI is pretty terrible and doesn't know how to use its Titan properly and just bomb rush everything, so really it's you know, there's a difference, I suppose, between completely unplayable and this, but they've totally, like, just ruined the game in so many respects. And, you know, well, you could give me the age-old argument that everyone is giving out of the Paradox fanboys lately, and that's, well, you can just roll back a few patches if you don't like it. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can, but they're charging money for this DLC. And it's not about that. It's not about charging money, it's not about being cost-effective, it's not about consumers, though it is always about consumers at the end, but it's not just about that. It's about the general sort of careless attitude of Paradox recently. And I'm going to call them out on that, and I'm not a fan, right? I'm not a fan of this. Ever since Rome, arguably even a little bit before that, this is just, I mean, this is something that's so easily preventable. And fair enough, you know, maybe a week from now or 2 weeks from now the patch comes out, and then now you can no longer find it until, I don't know, the end game or whatever. But even then, like, it shouldn't have been in to begin with, right? It's just, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of this, I don't like this, and I just wish that this never occurred in the first place. But that's as far as Paradox is concerned and the Stellaris DLC, so I thought about doing a Let's Play on it, but I can't, like, not with this. So I'll probably start a Let's Play in Stellaris again when they fix this this bug, and then we'll talk about it, right? Anyways, nice tracking shot there on the Comet, keeping him there. Is there anyone else that can shoot him other than me? I don't think so. Alright. Whatever. So basically this is just the world's strongest position, really. I mean, you can fire between these little rocks here, and the enemies are they're just not getting any wiser to what's happening here, so we can put out ridiculous amounts of damage very easily with not even a full, not even a 100% crew. This is like, at the time, I think this was like a 80-something, 90% crew. So that's all fine and dandy as far as the replay is concerned. But yeah, I remembered something that happened, like, well, it actually happened today, but I remembered I wanted to talk about it. And that's, so basically this is going to be an extremely personal story, but I found it very funny and I wanted to share it. And the entire video is kind of like a mixed bag of Stellaris and this and like a couple of personal things, but hey, what the hell. So basically, this happened in uni, and we were doing, oh, what was it, Jekyll and Hyde, right? Yeah. And there's a sentence, or actually there's a couple in Jekyll and Hyde where a certain juggernaut is mentioned. Basically, the story goes, Hyde tramples over a girl, and it's like this juggernaut of a man trampled over a girl, and, you know, we wanted to kill him for it, and then we decided to make him pay a fine. Yeah, it's quite a transition from one to the other, but they make him pay like £100, which back in the day is like $1 billion, so whatever. Anyways, point being, God, that pillar's annoying. Point being, I had to sit through a lecture of about 10 to 15 minutes of what a juggernaut is, and I just laughed my ass off internally. I didn't want to say anything, because like, what's a juggernaut? Well, it's technically me, yeah. And the funny thing is, as soon as we read that out loud, there's like, okay, so there's about a dozen people in the room that know me as Juggernaut and as Stefan, right, if that makes sense? So at this point, around a dozen people turn and look at me and start giggling, right? Which was just, it was bloody priceless, honestly, and it was just funny, and it's, I think, the only time, like, YouTube got in the way of personal life, if that makes sense. I talk about being busy with recording stuff all the time with people that know and stuff like that. I don't mean it in that sense, but this was like an invasion of my my YouTube life into my personal life, which was kind of weird. Because I don't think anyone ever recognized me in public that weren't one of my friends. Actually, that's not true. I had been recognized once, primarily as the YouTuber, and then so that is actually you. Like, yeah, it is. But that happened like literally once. So yeah, that's about it basically. Anyways, that was bloody hilarious. But the point of this video, and the title of this video, being "The World Is Not Enough." Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, the world is not enough indeed, in the proverbial saying. The first replay, which I should have played second in retrospect, it doesn't matter, is kind of sorry, kind of the punchline that I wanted to deliver here. That sometimes, no matter how well you try and do, no matter what you try and do, the world is not going to be enough. Just like in life, exactly how it happened in that previous game as well. No matter how well you do, could I have done better? Absolutely. I'm just a slightly above average player according to my stats, and it's like, that's not the predominant issue here. But sometimes, all you can do is your best, and just let the rest fall into place as it will, right? Just like in life, just in professional life, in relationships, in pretty much anything. And that's sort of one, like, what would you call it? Like a proverb that I want to share with you today. Because it is something that I've realised that has been sort of relatively relevant recently, yes, for the channel and all that. Sometimes all you can do is your best, and sometimes you're going to fail, and that's completely fine. And you just got to realise that there's nothing you could have done about that, and accept that and move forward. That's sort of the message I want to leave with today, and realistically, I just had two really cool World of Tanks replays that I wanted to show. The first one was an ace tanker. The second one was an ace tanker. The first one was an ace tanker 2? No, I don't think it was an ace tanker. It was a defeat. No way, it was an ace tanker. It was a first class, I think, but whatever. 5,000 damage block, 2,000 something damage dealt. It's great. Anyways, that's about it. So, Stellaris had me bitterly disappointed. I'm ridiculously skeptical for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 as well. Simply because I know who the people working on the game are, and I've taken a look at their past records, and yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling generally skeptical of everything recently, but yeah, there you go. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update for Stellaris, and so yeah, I'm going to be playing that if and when they fix it, and that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video, and I'll stay tuned with the rest of the content that I produce on the channel. Till next time, have fun, take care, and bye-bye.